And the twist at the end, okay, if you're gonna stick around for any of my videos, this is the one to do it. This is the twist in this movie is so fucking insane. And I don't mean insane good, I mean actually insane. Hey, what is up you guys, and welcome back to Millie's and Eggberg, the show where I sit down every single week and talk about a movie. I was putting on a mug, get it? Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, so this week, this movie killed me. I shit you not, I almost had an aneurysm whilst watching this film. And to be honest, I don't think that I can sum up this movie any better than its own description does, because it defies words. So I'm just gonna read you the movie description. Two lovers are killed during the Holocaust. One reincarnates first. He has a 20-year-old daughter who falls in love with who her father believes is his past life lover. Or I guess the abridged version, in case that didn't really make much sense. A widowed journalist realizes his daughter's boyfriend is a reincarnated lover he had in a past life. That description was all I needed to know that this movie was gonna be messy. I love movies that are just like, who the fuck came up with this and what is wrong with y'all? This movie had me hooked. I was enticed, I was entranced, I was enthralled, and I was a little bit scared. This movie currently sits at 2 stars on IMDb with a whopping 58.5% 1-star rating. This movie is pure chaos from start to finish. On a technical level, the movie is trash, almost unwatchable, and the plot is so fucking balls to the wall crazy that you don't know what's happening at any point in the movie, but I couldn't put it down. And the twist at the end, I'm just gonna timestamp it. If you don't want to watch anything else that I say during this video, that is fine, I completely understand, but I beseech you, please skip to the timestamp that I've put in the description called The Twist. Everybody needs to hear this because this is 2003's The Singing Forest. Okay, so despite the fact that this movie was made in 2003, the first thing I was really struck by is how low the production quality is. And I mean that on a really technical level. The camera that they used was so grainy that the entire movie looks like it was filmed on a Nokia 3310. We then have a really long quote on the screen as like a title sequence. And like, it's something about nothing ever dying and things being born anew. But what struck me the most about this is that at the bottom of the quote, where it's supposed to, you know, attribute it to someone, it just attributes the quote to someone named Christopher. I had no idea who Christopher was. I was like, oh, is there like a Saint Christopher or something? And I'm supposed to know who this is? Is this a really famous quote? No, plot twist, it's one of the characters in the movie, but like, if we haven't started watching the movie yet, you can't quote someone from the movie. That would be like in the opening crawl of Star Wars, it just says, Luke, I am your father, Darth Vader, and then just carries on like nothing happened. So we then have a voiceover lady. And honestly, I cannot tell what the fuck she's saying. The audio quality is so atrocious that you just can't understand a thing. Guys, you did this in post. This is dubbed. Why can I hear a car driving past the lady in voiceover? What is this?
Fate tore them apart. Destiny brought them together.
I would go so far as to say that without subtitles, large sections of this movie will just be completely incomprehensible. We then get a title card that says Joe and Alexander, 1933. But then we're shown a montage of images that appear to be from like World War II. There are concentration camps. There are people wearing Nazi paraphernalia. there are people getting experimented on. And it's like, wait, but the title card said 1933. 1933 is before World War II, right? World War II was 39 to 45. Maybe. I did a degree in politics. So if that's not right, I should be ashamed of myself. Let me Google that. Hey Siri, when was World War II?
It happened from the 1st of September 1939 to the 2nd of September 1945.
Nice. Thanks, babe. Nailed it. Can't believe I'm so proud of that. So after this montage finishes, we then get another title card that says present day, his version. Who he is, we don't know. I'm going to assume whomever Christopher is. But again, at this point in the movie, we still don't know who Christopher is. So, who are you people? I got back from dance class, so I need a protein bar. After this title card, we finally get to meet Christopher. And Christopher is going to be our main character for this movie. He's kind of a middle-aged dude, blonde, shirtless, great body. If he had more acting talent, people might have said that he resembled Robert Redford, but he doesn't, so I won't be saying that.
My father was right. I'm not good enough.
God damn it, my lip is bleeding again. Anyway, we find out that Christopher is a journalist and he's just suffered a bereavement and the death of someone named Savannah. Now, Savannah apparently died 6 months ago and Christopher has not been taking it well. Another character is talking to him and is like, bro, you're home in the middle of the day when you should be at work and you're drunk. And we find out that he previously wrote a column for a local newspaper. And in this column, he recently interviewed a woman who claims to be a psychic and offers her time to the local police forces to help them solve crimes and can also help people connect with their past lives. So, you know, a charlatan. And Christopher tells us that this psychic helped him regress to a past life where he was in Nazi Germany and specifically took him back to a concentration camp in the middle of a forest. So, if you're keeping track, what's happened here is a crazy charlatan has targeted a vulnerable man and pretty much implanted fake memories into his brain, but the movie wants us to believe that this is like authentic and not a delusion brought on by hysteria, alcoholism, and grief.
No, sorry. Next.
We then get a flash of a dude walking up a driveway. And we haven't seen this character yet, but he's pretty young, he's quite handsome. Then we see him and Christopher having drinks. And then we cut to the both of them being naked on a bed.
Good grief, he's naked!
Well, then we go back to Christopher and we're back in his kitchen and he's still telling his friend that in his past life that the psychic helped him remember, he was part of a resistance group that helped to feed and house Jewish people, specifically gay Jewish people, back in Nazi Germany. But then the flash that they just had, was that supposed to be a flashback to his time in this past life? One of the most frustrating things about this film is that you have no sense of time. Hear me out for a second, because this is where the movie gets so fucking confusing. Because usually in a movie, you have a flashback and a flash forward. And you can tell which is which based on like the context of what you're talking about. If you're showing flashes in the middle of talking about something, you would assume that those flashes were depicting the thing you were talking about. That doesn't appear to be the case here. You're just shown random flashes of Christopher or his past life drinking and hooking up with this guy. Where we are flashing to at this moment in the movie, I have no idea. It's just taking us somewhere. But then as soon as that happens, there's another flash and we're back in his kitchen. And he's telling us that in his past life, his name was Joe and he was the leader of this gay resistance. And again, it really makes you think that that flash was supposed to be a flashback to his time doing that. But we will find out later in the movie that no, these are not flashbacks. These were just random snippets of future events put in for reasons unknown. We then find out that Christopher is gonna go spend some time with his daughter Destiny. Destiny is 22, she is engaged, and she's gonna be getting married next week. So we cut to Destiny's house, and Destiny introduces Christopher to her fiance. And wouldn't you know it, Destiny's fiance is the guy that we just saw Christopher making out with in The Flash. Damn it feels so stupid to say The Flash. Sounds like I'm talking about the fucking comic book character. Immediately, I was like, oh bitch. Oh bitch. This is the plot of probably about 6,500 Sean Cody pornos. A couple of Boy Next Door exclusives, some cocky boys, you know, the good shit. And honestly, you know, I wanted to watch this movie because it sounded messy, so let the mess begin. So immediately, Christopher's like, oh my god, you look so familiar. And Destiny's fiance, whose name is Ben, which confirmed to me that, okay, the Flash that we saw was a flashback from the 1930s. But then the movie shows us the exact footage from that Flash, but happening in the modern day. Like the two of them sharing some Prosecco in a crew neck. And it's like, wait, so it wasn't a flashback, it was a flash forward, but then how does he look familiar? I got really bogged down whilst watching this movie in trying to figure out what is supposed to go where. And honestly, it drove me insane. So I'm gonna try to not get too het up about it, because I've probably already rambled on about it for so long and it's probably so confusing. So I'm sorry, I'll try and rein it in, but it's gonna be tough. All right, so the next day, Destiny is like, I gotta go to work, but Ben, can you take care of my dad and, you know, show him around town? So the two of them go down to the beach. It might be redundant to point out at this point because I know I already said it, but I do just want to mention how fucking terrible the audio quality is in this movie, because they're on the beach and they're right next to waves that are crashing on some rocks, and nobody even bothered to like do some ADR, give them lavalier mics, even try and mess with the levels, because the sound of the ocean is approximately 6 times louder than the people speaking.
Oh, great. I was thinking how miraculous life is. Sometimes save us from death. I try not to think too much about this.
Anyway, Christopher has like a really long monologue about life and how it's important or something. And then he tells Ben, you really remind me of someone that I met in a past life. Which is totally a pickup line, but Ben doesn't really seem to care about that very much. He's just like, oh wow, that's crazy, brah. Anyway, we should go, which is probably exactly how I would respond if someone started saying that crazy shit to me. They then have a very angry looking conversation, but you can't actually hear what they're saying because they just play music over it, which I'm guessing is because the audio was just unusable because of the background noise. So instead, you just kind of have to like interpret what's going on from people's angry facial expressions. So what I took from it is that Christopher is really pushing this whole I knew you in a past life kind of angle, and Ben is just like, this is a bit much, you need to relax. Ben also has this one line which, I'm not gonna lie, did make me cackle.
Christ, I've heard enough, okay? I'm not some crazy ghost from the spirit world. I'm from Des Moines.
I would love it if this was somehow dubbed into a Yu-Gi-Oh episode. When Pegasus tries to send you to the Shadow Realm, it's like, nah, you can't send me to the Shadow Realm. I'm from Des Moines. So we cut to what I assume is later in the day. And Christopher gets into bed whilst crying and singing You Are My Sunshine my only sunshine. And then he gets completely butt-ass naked and has a vision of his dead wife. And at this point in the movie, I was like, oh, is this like some kind of psychological thriller? Like, is this dude gonna snap? Because they're clearly building up that something isn't all the way right with him. Anyway, we go to Ben and he's going to a party. I think it's his bachelor party. So he goes out, he does some coke, he gets fucked up and he stumbles home. He then proceeds to also get butt-ass naked and just gets into bed with Christopher. Apropos of nothing, just comes home, gets naked, and gets in bed with his stepdad-to-be. And all I could think of is, where the fuck is Destiny? Like, this is her house. And I know she mentioned earlier in the movie that, you know, she'd be working late, but working late doesn't usually imply overnight. It implies, I don't know, maybe I'll be working until around 8, at the latest 10. Not like I'm literally going to be staying overnight at my place of business, so you have all of this time if you want to go and get naked with my father. But apparently, they're not concerned about that. And then Christopher just starts hugging Ben and he's like, I knew it was you. From the moment I saw you, I knew it was you. And then Ben replies being like, it's okay. I'm here now, just hold me. And I'm like, oh my God. So now you two are just sharing this delusion. For a minute, I really thought that this movie was trying to say something about grief and how Christopher was, you know, coping with the death of his wife by inventing this really outlandish fairy tale. But no, they're really going with this past life thing to, I guess, legitimize the guy-on-guy action. So the next morning, Destiny finally comes home and she sees her dad in the kitchen and she's like, oh, hey, yeah, you know, work was just crazy yesterday. I had to stay overnight. How convenient. But, you know, I'm free today, so we should really go do some stuff for my wedding. You know, it's in a couple of days and I still don't have a dress, so we should go pick one of those out. And I'm not gonna lie, immediately, obviously, I was like, oh my God, do we get a wedding dress montage? But, unfortunately, no.
Why are you crying?
So then all of a sudden, Ben's like, why do you keep calling me Alexander? Keep in mind, we have never seen Christopher call him Alexander. So they end up having a big argument. And in this argument, Ben tells Christopher, you really need to start distinguishing between what's real and what's fake. I am not some reincarnated version of your past homosexual lover. I am about to be your son-in-law. Okay, finally, someone is speaking some sense in this movie. Don't worry, this will not last long. And all the way through this argument, I was like, where'd Destiny go? Like, she was here, like, literally 2 seconds ago. Apparently she was asleep on the couch. You live in, like, a 2-bedroom apartment. There is no way you could not hear these 2 grown-ass men screaming at each other from literally 5 feet away. And then in the next scene, they're all having a very tense, very awkward dinner, and Destiny's dropping lines like, well, I'll go get the dessert. Why don't you two just get reacquainted? Clearly she heard what you guys have been saying. And she's got a face on her like she's about to snap at someone. And I'm like, oh, she's about to go off. Oh, Destiny's about to let him have it. I would also like to note that the entire way through this exchange, there's just a dog barking in the background.
Can I please pass the carrots?
Sure.
But anyway, the movie makes out that Destiny has no idea what happened, and I guess we're just going with that lie. And then we find out that when Ben was young, his parents died in a car wreck, so he doesn't know who his parents are. And I was like, ooh, okay, where's that gonna go? Like, is it gonna turn out that Christopher is his father? Now that would be messy. Like, that would be some Greek tragedy kind of bullshit.
Daddy, chill.
Like, I think I'm just honestly having a really hard time buying this whole past life crossed lovers regression thing. So I'm just trying to give the movie like other avenues to go down in my mind. Anywho, so Destiny leaves because she says she has to go to work, but really, we all know that that's just a plot device so Ben and Christopher can spend more time together. So Christopher and Ben are there and sat on the couch, they're having a couple of beers, and Ben's like, so, tell me about this Alexander. And then Christopher tells him that in his past life, he met Alexander in a bar called the Owl, and that the Nazis kept this bar open in an attempt to catch homosexuals because they would then experiment on them or round them up and then put them into concentration camps. Things then take a really sinister turn. Christopher then starts talking about his past and his childhood, and he's like, yeah, I came from a really abusive household, and like my father was physically and mentally abusive to both me and my mother. And then he starts explaining how he met his now dead wife, Savannah. And he says that after he got kicked out by his dad, he wanted to prove that he was, a man. That night, he met Savannah when she was leaving the library. And in order to prove he was a man and make himself feel better, he followed her and raped her, and then I guess somehow married her. What the fuck? But before we can dig into that any deeper, Ben shuts it down and is like, hey, let's not talk about that. This is our night to celebrate surviving. And it's like, said with not a hint of irony, that Savannah is just fully dead. We then just cut to another shot of the two of them naked and in bed together, and I feel like I ask this a fair bit when I'm reviewing these movies. In the words of Deborah Cox, how did we get here? And then Destiny walks in. Yes, bitch, she catches them. She catches them fully naked and in bed together.
Dad?
What? Destiny?
I'm sorry.
If this was me, I'd be throwing shit. I'd be screaming, I'd be shouting, I'd be dragging someone out of there by their hair. But no, Destiny's just like, I'm sorry, and then leaves. She apologizes to them and then books it. Then we cut to a shot of Christopher waking up in bed screaming. So, was all of that a dream? We then have some shots of a dude in a Nazi uniform walking down a few flights of stairs, and then another shot of Richard waking up in bed screaming, but this time he's screaming Destiny. And then we just cut to Christopher and Ben having lunch. I have no clue what's going on here. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the movie. I have no idea what's real and what's fake in the context of this film. If I was a cinema bitch, I might be trying to make some weird argument about how Christopher's internal struggle means that he can't distinguish from reality or fiction. So it makes sense that the movie structure is also super confusing. But no, I don't think it is. I think this is just a really bad storytelling and really, really poor filmmaking. But anyway, Ben has fully drank the Kool-Aid on this whole we are past life lovers bullshit, because he gets in contact with the psychic that originally told Christopher about his past life as the dude who saved gay Jewish people in Germany. And she just gives him a load of doublespeak. She says a lot of sentences that are true, but also disconnected. So, for example, she says, you're about to get married and you found your one true love. That could be Destiny, or it could be Christopher. and she never says which one is which. But in the next scene, it is at least made clear that yes, Destiny did in fact walk in on Christopher and Ben. Then all of a sudden Christopher's crying again, crying about how much he hurt her, and it's like, well, yeah, you just fucked her fiance and she found out. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, Destiny is back. And I was like, no, they're not gonna do like a weird cross-generational throuple, are they? Because let's face it, any way they choose to end this movie, it's gonna be messy. Either they have Ben marry Destiny and she will just forever know that her husband slept with her father, or they have Christopher and Ben get together and then Destiny will just be heartbroken, or maybe they go for this weird in-between where like Destiny and Ben still get married, but they just kind of accept that Ben has this weird relationship with Destiny's father because of their past soul bond or whatever. And that would be the messiest, but like, if you're already going there, if we've already come this far, you may as well commit. So Christopher starts crying. He's just, I don't know, boo-hooing about hurting them both so much. And then Destiny just turns around and says, Dad, you came here to walk me down the aisle. And that's what you're gonna do. Which, if your self-esteem is really that low. And then they all have a group hug.
You both are my family. And I'm not about to give up on you. Either one of you.
All right. And now it's time for the twist. It's about to get even messier, so we cut to the psychic. She's giving an interview to like some other dude. She says that she wants to tell a story about Destiny, and she explains that Destiny is an unborn spirit and that she was a product of rape and a miscarriage. So Destiny, the character that we've seen throughout this entire movie, suddenly isn't real. What? There were pictures of her. Pictures of her with Ben. Pictures of her having a life outside of these two people. She spoke to other people on the phone. The house that Ben was living in was Destiny's. And then directly after this, we cut to Destiny in a wedding dress being walked down the aisle by Christopher. And then when they get to the end of the aisle, Destiny walks off and Christopher marries Ben. And the psychic just says that it was Destiny's purpose to bring together two lost souls from another time. And I swear I am losing my mind. Honestly, I am at a complete loss as to how to explain this. The only thing I can say is it's time for some final thoughts. Okay, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. This movie is fucking insane. Just to recap, okay? Christopher met a woman named Savannah who he raped and impregnated. And then she miscarried and later died. The spirit of this unborn baby then appears to Christopher as his daughter named Destiny, whom he believed to be real, probably in part due to his fractured mental state, ? Destiny also just fully has a life, completely independent of Christopher, and later goes on to meet Ben, who is apparently the reincarnated lover of Christopher from Nazi Germany, where he was killed and where Christopher led a resistance to help gay Jewish people escape. They all reconnect, and then Christopher and Ben have an affair, leaving Destiny heartbroken, but also then she just appears in a wedding dress only to fade from existence. Finn! What the fuck? Who wrote this? Who sat down and thought, yeah, this is the one? My God, I don't ever think I have watched a movie that makes so little sense and that is filmed so poorly. But despite everything, I can't say I had a bad time, Hen. I really can't. I can't say that I didn't enjoy watching this because, yes, it was messy, but the entire time I was sat there, I was like, oh, he's really fucking his daughter's boyfriend. And now what? Like, I was hooked. I wanted to see where this went. I'm not gonna lie. I do think it is a bit of a cop-out that Destiny, you know, is the concept of Destiny as opposed to the person Destiny, because, like, I feel like there should be some repercussions. I kind of feel like Christopher shouldn't get a happy ending. He is one of the most morally reprehensible, terrible protagonists that I've ever seen in any movie ever. Yet the movie treats him like he's some kind of prophet, like he's some kind of well-adjusted human being, when he is clearly a dude on the edge. But all in all, if you like trash, if you like sitting there going, somebody made this, somebody put probably over a year of their life into making this, it's available for free with ads on Tubi. And that's all I'm gonna say on that. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you like this look. If you do, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I'm here every single Monday. You can find links to all of my socials in the description box down below. And until next time, stay delusional. Bye guys.